Hello everyone, it's Richard and I'm back with another installment of the Blinky project. We are now on Rev.002. I had a few questions about when I'm going to get to .002. Well, here it is. Since the last we talked, we were talking about the gearbox ratio. One of the updates on Rev.002, I reconfigured it to 208 to 1 gear ratio. It was at 208, now it's at 56 to 1. It is definitely a little faster. I also added some, you can see here, some capacitors on the motors. What that does is that will tend to clean up the noise spikes on the bus. Now, wired up like this, that would not be a concern, but with signaling on the bus and computers and PICs and everything else, it may interfere with signaling and cause jittering and loss of control. That was a big issue back in, well, with radio controlled aircraft. The noise of the motors would interfere with the signals. Now these capacitors are supposed to smooth out the voltage spikes and cut out a lot of that. At work I actually had put it on an oscilloscope. You can see where it was cleaned up a little bit, so it does provide some remedy to that issue. After reconfiguring the gearbox, I don't know if you can see the mounting holes a little bit here. I had to move the mounting holes up a little bit because the gear ratios placed the output shafts further back, so I had to move up a little bit. Now that's going to be interfering somewhat with the placement of some of the components I want to do in here, but I believe I can squeeze it all in. Now the test drive, it's definitely a little quicker and a little harder to steer because the motors got reversed or something because of the way the gear ratios the motors were. Like I said, my skills usually a little better, but this unit I'm using to control it is a little wonky at this point, even more wonkier than it has been. So, still pretty good with the zero turning aspects of it. A little too quick. But I can always slow it down, whereas I wouldn't be able to speed it up. When I finally get a brain in Blinky, I can try using pulse width modulation. I can slow it down a touch. Whoops. Yep, it's actually outdistancing my skills pretty quickly. You can see it's definitely faster than it was. See if I can adjust the ramp this time. Well, maybe if I was to actually be able to control it. Yep, still a little too slippery, but it'll push it around rather nicely. Okay, pretty much enough of this nonsense. Everybody agrees it's faster and worth trying moving on to the next level. Rev .003. Might build a little body for it, mount a motor, mount the battery box in here, some hardware things. Rev numbering, I'm pretty much just going to stick to .00 blah blah until I actually get it some sort of brain in here and a somewhat complete package. Now as far as brains go, I'm kind of starting small at first with a pickaxe 8M microchip branded processor. It's an 8-pin, very 2 or 3 out. It has 3 outputs, 4 outputs, 1 input. Limited RAM, ROM, memory storage. Basically, probably have that just to prove the concept, mess around, learn how to do programming, and maybe just have it go in a big circle or anything else like that. Now, for whatever reason, this little controller here has some nostalgic reasons or moments for me. So, I might be able to, through software, once I get a brain in it, set this up so that I can actually control it. Now, that's more time invested, learning. Not sure if I want to go that route, but it's kind of bouncing around my mind. Once again, hopefully we'll be at Rev +1 sometime. So, until next time, everybody have a nice day and try to keep warm.